we did it. We're finally here. I'm finally able to film an introduction video. I recognize that it is like 2 weeks into the new year and I wanted to post this 2 weeks ago, but oh well, we're here now. If you are here, thank you so much for opting into this journey that I am trying to take this year. This video, I kind of just want to talk about the goals that I've set, go into more detail about why I'm doing what I'm doing, tell you a little bit about just who I am, and kind of list out what this year is supposed to look like on this channel. I'm still kind of figuring it out. I have a whole plan, but we'll see if I stick to it and if it works, but that's what this video is for. So, I assume if you're watching that you probably already know me, but if you don't, hello. My name is Madison. I am an avid reader and an amateur writer. I have been reading and writing since I was little. It's been my dream since I was a kid to be an author of published books, of fiction, and I am trying to take the steps towards making that dream a reality this year. I have just completed my master's in creative writing, so I'm trying to focus my time on this, make this my job, make this my career, treat it like it's my job instead of just a hobby that I never give the proper amount of time to. So that's the goal for this year and why I'm kind of doing this. I did consider starting a YouTube channel several years ago when I finished my undergrad program because I missed being able to talk about books on a regular basis. But at the time, I kind of just felt like I didn't have anything new to add to the conversation. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to talk about. So it's an idea I've had brewing for a while because I've always enjoyed reaching out online and kind of discussing the things that I'm working on and the things that I'm reading, but have never really taken that step until now. So I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. First one being that since I have graduated from college or my undergrad program back in 2019, I have gotten really lazy about articulating my thoughts about what I'm reading. It's something I used to have to do very regularly. You know, I would do it in presentations in class, I would do it in class discussions, I would do it in all the papers I was writing. I was able to, go into depth about what I liked about a book, what I didn't like about a book, being able to objectively appreciate a book for what it's doing, even if subjectively I didn't enjoy it. And that's just a muscle that I really haven't worked very well in a long time. So I want to get back into the habit of doing that. It's something that I miss doing. So the purpose of all the book reviews that I'm going to be doing here and on Instagram is kind of just to start training that muscle again, get better about articulating those thoughts again, because it is something I just miss and want to be better at again. The next thing and the next reason that I'm doing this is that whenever somebody asks me, "What's your book about?" or "What are you writing?" I immediately freeze up and I don't know what to say. And I know that is not good for a career in writing. So I'm hoping that the more that I practice it in front of the camera, in the comment section on Instagram or wherever, that'll just be a muscle that I can build up, a skill I can build up more regularly. Because right now I'm not good about it. I don't know how to condense all my thoughts about what I'm trying to say. And so I end up just saying something lame like, "It's a fantasy." And I smile really awkwardly and I leave it at that and I have nothing more to say and it's just not good. So trying to work on that as well. And I honestly don't know what that's going to look like on this channel or on Instagram or wherever I'm doing this. But I know it's something I need to practice and I need to get better at. So that's another reason I'm doing this, is to try to build that skill of learning to talk professionally about my writing, but also just conversationally about my writing without feeling like just the absolute weight of the world. If I must tell them everything and nothing at the same time, or I have no idea what to say, what do I tell them? And giving my really lame answer of, "It's fantasy." I don't know. So working on that as well. And then finally, I wanted to do this just as an accountability tool to be able to really stick to my goals, because I know people are out there wanting to know how it's going. That keeps me on track really well. So knowing that I have this to work on in addition to my writing and my reading goals makes it, at least for me, easier to stick to the goals that I have set for myself. So those are my main 3 reasons, and kind of just why I wanted to do this at all anyway. So getting into more details with my goals. I announced this on Instagram already, but as far as reading goals go, I am trying to read 100 books this year. I recognize that people who do this as a career already, 100 books is like a chump number. I know so many booktubers, book talkers, bookstagrammers, people who are in the book and writing community on all these social media platforms, 100 books is nothing to them. Most of them are reading upwards of 100 books a year, and that's just normal. For me, because I have always been going to school full-time or working full-time, the highest I've ever gotten, at least in the years that I've been tracking how many books that I read, the highest I've gotten is 85 books, and that was during COVID when I was forced to stay in my house. It's just a number I've always wanted to reach, and I think this is the year I can do it. And I'm both really excited and really intimidated, but just overall really looking forward to being able to try to reach that number of 100, just to see if I can. I think I can, but we'll find out as the year goes on. I'm planning to do review videos for anything fictional that I read, but my overall number of 100 books, I will include anything nonfiction, the writer's guides that I'm picking up, my biblical studies books that I read. So that will all be included in that number of 100, but I really will only do review videos for the fiction books that I read. That's more kind of the discussion I want to be having around books anyway. The stuff that I read outside of that is more for my own personal edification and training and education. So at the end of the year, I'll probably do a video going over all of those extra books that I've read. Might do a separate video for nonfiction versus writer's guides that I've read, or I'll just lump them all together in one, not sure. But at the end of the year, I'll kind of go over the ones that I really enjoyed this year, but I'm not going to address them as thoroughly like I'm doing for fiction on this channel. So that's what you can expect from reviews for books, at least on this end of things. I am planning to do a quarterly readathon, so every 3 months or so hold a 24-hour readathon. I'm not really married to any ideas of what kinds of readathons I'm going to do yet, but I do think I will probably do a spooky readathon in October for Halloween, and I'll probably do a readathon where I tackle a few of the books on my physical TBR shelf, which I introduced on Instagram recently. So just some ideas, still working on a few others, but that's the idea as far as other bookish content that I'm planning to put out. I think overall this will average out to about 8 books a month, but that will really just depend on my schedule. I'm not really sure. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the plan that I have right now that I'm trying to stick to as closely as I can. Predominantly, I'll be reading science fiction and fantasy, 1, just because that's what I'm writing, but 2, because with having worked full-time and gone to school full-time for the past several years, I just feel really behind in what's popular in those genres right now. So I'm trying to play a little bit of catch-up and get back into the canon of what really defines those genres at the moment, what people are talking about, what they're discussing. So working on that this year so that I can really use my reading to feed my writing career as well. So that's just a broad overview of all my reading goals. Again, we'll see how closely I stick to all those specific details, but 100 books is the big thing, so fingers crossed we can get there. Writing goals I have a bit more planned out just because I have to. That's the career I'm trying to get into. So I've divided the year into quarters for myself. So right now I'm in quarter 1, and quarter 1 for me is just preparation. So for the month of January, I'm focusing on my characters. I'm filling in really detailed character profiles. February, I'm planning to work on world building. March will be plot, and then turning all of this into a detailed outline that I can follow when I start writing. And I'm doing this because the more I look at the story that I have been trying to write since I was 15 years old, the more I realize I'm trying to write an epic fantasy. And I don't think I've ever outright said that, or I try to downplay of like, oh yeah, it's fantasy, but because it's not hard magic system and it's not hard world building, like it's not really epic, I don't know. But the more that I look at what I'm trying to do, the more I realize, yes, it is an epic fantasy, and so I can't really just chuck myself headlong into it. I do need to plan and prepare. And so while I've appreciated all the advice that is, like, you know enough already to get started, you can just go for it. Every time I've done that, I end up more frustrated on the back end of things because there's so much editing that has to be done, so many questions I don't have the answers to. So I am taking my time this time around to prepare ahead of time, to really look at everything I'm trying to accomplish in detail so that I have a solid plan and just a solid idea of what I'm trying to accomplish by the time I actually get to writing. So that's just quarter 1. And that's obviously January through March. Quarter 2, April through June, is going to be writing the new draft. So I have already written 2 drafts of this book before. Having looked at it, I do have to scrap almost everything that I've already written. When I wrote those, I was very young. I was still getting a feel for what I was doing. It's kind of just all over the place. So the bare bones of what was there before is staying, but the detail work that I needed to fix back then I'm trying to work on now. So it is kind of like a first draft that I'm writing again. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure how that process is going to look once I get to it, but that is my goal, is for those 3 months from April to June. I am just solely working on getting that draft done. And then quarter 3, I am planning to take a break. So that's July to September. I'm not going to touch this at all. I'm going to finish that draft. I'm going to put it away, and I'm just not even going to think about it, look at it, work on it. Just give my brain a break so that I have fresh eyes when I return to it. Something I am going to do in this time, though, which I have never tried to do before, is start preparation for a new project. I have always only ever worked on one thing at a time, and that is a skill that I want to build, being able to juggle more than one project at one time. So I think I'm going to try my hand at a contemporary dramedy. I have a few ideas for those kinds of novels, so I'll pick one of them and kind of just start doing the same preparation work that I'm doing for this fantasy novel for that quarter. So I'll be doing just prep work and leaving the fantasy novel to rest in my brain for a bit. And then quarter 4, October through December, I will pick up the fantasy draft again, and I will do my review, I will do my edits, I will go through and get a new polished draft ready for my alpha readers by hopefully January of 2025. And then from that point on, I'm not really sure how that's going to pan out, but I'm planning to kind of balance each of those as I go. So when I send that draft off to alpha readers is probably when I will start writing the first draft of the contemporary dramedy project that I started prep work for in quarter 3. So trying to kind of balance it in that way, where when I put one to bed, I'm working on the other one and just switching back and forth, just so I have multiple things I am working on and I am stretching those writing muscles in different ways, and I don't have just all my eggs in one basket. So those are my goals for writing. As far as writing videos go, I honestly have no idea what they're gonna look like. The best I can think of right now is that I will treat this like a video diary. I'll talk about the things that are going well, the things that I'm struggling with, what I'm enjoying, what's been difficult, what I'm learning, share any resources that I've been using that have been helpful. So treat it like a video diary, but I don't know, we'll see. If you have any ideas and there's anything in particular you want to see from me as far as my writing videos go, I'd love to hear your suggestions and ideas. I have a little bit less in mind for that side of things than I do for the reading side of things. So we'll see. Would love to hear your thoughts if you feel like sharing them. I think that's everything. You can see my notes. Something else is that I hate talking to the camera. I hate it. I feel so awkward. I'm doing it now because I have to, but that is another skill I want to get comfortable with. Again, just in the same line of articulating my thoughts more clearly, being able to actually speak professionally about what I'm doing. So this is another way that I can practice that, but it is going to take some time to get comfortable with. Just hate doing it, but oh well. Thank you for being here, for being interested enough to watch this video and to follow me and my progress and to be asking how it's going. I've had so many people already checking in to ask how the writing is going, how the reading is going, what's been difficult, what's been enjoyable. So I really appreciate all the support and encouragement. It really means the world and helps me to actually stay on task with what I'm trying to do. Because as much as I'm excited, I'm also intimidated. It's not something I've ever done before, actually treating this like it's my career and not just a hobby that I'll get to when I have the time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Happy to hear any feedback, comments, suggestions that you might have, but that's all from me for now. Again, I'm kind of just figuring this out as I go. I have a lot to learn. The next thing you should be able to expect from me is my review of The Poppy War, which I'm very excited to discuss. But until then, thank you again for following along, and I will talk to you guys soon. The end. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a professional.